We've had an absolutely fantastic Ostmine conference. Over 1,200 delegates. We've had a world-class lineup of speakers and exhibitors who were part of this event. And I look forward to seeing you in 2021 in Perth.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's interview focused on the topic of next generation of modelling and simulation. My name's Clytie Dangar, and I'm the General Manager of Commercialisation at CRC-All. That's the Cooperative Research Centre for Optimising Resource Extraction. And I'm delighted to be joined today by Miguel Becerra from Teck, all the way from Chile.
Thank you so much for the introduction.
I just wanted to give a brief bio for Miguel. He is based in Santiago and he has a PhD in process engineering and over 15 years of experience working in senior roles for major mining companies and engineering consulting organisations. Miguel joined Teck this year in the role of Metallurgical Manager Technical Services, with responsibilities for driving process performance improvement across all Teck's South American assets. And Miguel joined Teck from Anglo, where he worked for close to 10 years in various metallurgical and process specialist roles, most recently as Principal for Process Modelling. So Miguel's very well qualified to speak on our topic today of next generation of modelling and simulation. And we know Miguel very well through his associations with the CRC. I just wondered if you could give me your thoughts on how important modelling and simulation techniques and tools have become for you in identifying and driving productivity improvements.
Thanks for the opportunity to share my experience on this specific conference. For me, at least, all the modelling and simulation techniques and the different tools that we can manage today are an essential piece of our knowledge as a mineral processors. And this is very important for me because I think if we can complement this specific knowledge around the modeling and simulation techniques can contribute a lot to the normal work of mineral processors. In my experience, this specific knowledge is very technical. So for that reason, it's not common to find this kind of knowledge massively with all the mineral processors. So for that reason, there are few people that can manage this kind of knowledge internally in the mining companies, And sadly, I think that fewer people are managing and developing this knowledge internally in the mining companies. And I'm seeing this trend more and more in the mining companies, sadly. So companies like Anglo American and Teck, fortunately, they strongly believe that we can manage this knowledge internally as an essential piece of our entire value chain to generate more value for our companies. So specifically, how we can use these different modeling and simulation techniques and the different tools available for us today. So in my experience, I have used this for essentially optimization of concentrator plants, comminution, flotation, including crushing as well. For design optimization for projects, for instance, I used to use this kind of techniques just to define different operational strategies, for instance, considering the design for a specific project, but also more recently and specifically with IES, for instance, I have started to use modeling and simulation techniques for mine planning purposes. So contributing for the geomet models development and try to expedite the different evaluation through the mining plan exercise for the different assets that I have seen in the past.
What advancements in modelling and simulation have been most valuable to you recently?
In terms of the advancement in modeling and simulation, in my specific experience working with concentrator plant, I think the power model development, for instance, is one of the most big advancement in the area, contributing to the development of different geomet models, giving us the opportunity to go to the next level with powered models developed by Steve Morel, for instance, during the last 10 years. The contribution of the IGS by Minovex, now SES, it was a big contribution for the geomet development as well. So powered models, for me at least, it was a big advancement in terms of have the opportunity to open these boxes and try to capture all the variability of a specific ore deposit, um, estimating what would be the response in terms of throughput and energy consumption, for instance. But more recently, for me at least, and probably most people know about this, IES, it was the big advancement in terms of modeling and simulation through the contribution, for sure, of the MIRA project development in the past, and have the opportunity to now see through the IES all the contribution of a big history of the MIRA project development in the past is very great for me. So now I have the opportunity to capture all of that knowledge through IES, for instance, and molecular tools, for instance. So today, in some cases, we can see some models developed by the Chilean people here in America, contributing to the IES development as well. So it's very nice to leave this time in terms of the modeling and the simulation techniques that we can use today.
That's very interesting, and nice for me to hear that coming from CRCO. So for the people who aren't that familiar with IES, which the acronym stands for the Integrated Extraction Simulator, I wonder if you can just give people a quick idea of what IES is, Miguel.
So for me, more than a definition is a series of different concepts. First of all, it's a modeling platform. For me, IES means integration, web-based, massive simulation, inline optimization, and the most important for me is an open box. So it's not a strict definition, but it's a series of different concepts.
Yeah, that's good. And you've been, using and helping the development of IES for some years. I wondered if you could describe some of the ways in which you're applying IES to your decision support when you're making decisions around the work you're doing.
More recently, and probably the most extensive use of IES in my experience is sensitivity analysis for plant optimization. So today we have the opportunity, and in the past we had that opportunity to do that manually and with a lot of time doing that through JK for instance, molecular tools, and so on. But today with IES, we have the big advantage of developing all of these sensitivity analysis very quick with a lot of different input that you can define with all the different output that you want to see. So it's very easy to develop this through the massive simulation features of IES, develop all of these sensitivity analysis, and more than identify just one point or only one point of optimization, identify a surface of response. In that way, you can identify with a lot of information what would be your best operational strategy to maximize the value of your asset. But in addition to that, as I mentioned before, more recently, I'm starting to use IES for mine planning, and contributing to developing what the CRCO people call it the block model conditioning, for instance. Mm-hmm. So now we have the opportunity through the massive simulation plus the inline optimization to develop millions of simulation using block model information, for instance, and estimating different response under different operational conditions, for instance. So now we have the opportunity, the miners, the miners, people that is working in mine planning, they have the opportunity to jump in different surface response. The situation in the past it was very different. So it was just a fixed plant condition with only one response for a specific input to the plant. So today we have different options to obtain a lot of different responses depending on the operational strategy. So today I'm promoting to use IES in that way as well.
Okay, so that's sort of given you the flexibility to look at, tweaking
absolutely.
a range of parameters rather than just one or two now.
Absolutely, and the miners are very happy with that situation. I think that now we are pushing more and more in to the mining people to explore new alternatives to evaluate this new information available for them.
Yeah, that's interesting. So moving sort of out of just mineral processing back into mining as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And planning. Yeah, very interesting, Miguel. And if you had your wish list, what would you like to see in terms of future developments in modelling and simulation? Not even necessarily just with IES, but how do you see future developments really adding value to the mining industry going forward?
Well, what I would like to see more and more, I think that today we have some of this, but what I would like to see more and more and completely connected with the plant model is the blasting model. What I would like to promote now is integrate quickly the blast modeling knowledge into platform like IES. Today with IES, we have the opportunity to connect all of these different models. But for some reason, I think probably is because my experience here in South America. But what I would like to see more is the involvement of the blasting people to develop and improve their models to connect everything in the same value chain. But also, what I'm seeing more and more, and probably you know this, is what I would like to see is, and we started to do this in the past, in my experience in Anglo American with CRCR, is the integration of data analytic tools for model development. So we know very well we have a lot of experience working with the old school in terms of developing process models, considering phenomenological models in some ways, and empirical models, and hybrid models. Today we have a lot of different tools to contribute the building of this kind of models using historical, operational information that can add more robustness to the model that we can build. So today we have the opportunity to manage a huge amount of information coming from our plants and contribute to give more robustness again to our models in platform like IES. And finally, I think that my final intention, for instance, talking about IES, is explore the opportunity to go with the development of what I call it the master model. So in the future, for instance, what I would like to have is only one model in the same platform to fit the different purposes of the mineral processors, like geomet models, optimization, design purposes, and so on. There is no reason to have different approaches, different models for different purposes. And I think that today, with IES, for instance, we have the opportunity to create what I call it the master model to fit the different purposes of the processing people.
Yeah, that's interesting. Rather than trying to integrate independent models, make it sort of one holistic model for the whole operation.
Yes, exactly. And all the people contributing at the same time, So there is no reason to work in silos, for instance, different areas, different disciplines, but all the people can contribute in the same platform with their specific knowledge, contributing to the entire value chain through just one big model for the concentrator plant.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and probably moves me to my next question. I wondered if you'd actually seen you know, these modeling and simulation tools, are they really helping to break down that sort of siloed approach to modeling and simulation and testing and trialing things? Do you see these simulation tools as really making a difference in terms of breaking down those silos?
Development like the IES, again, I think that can contribute to break down these operational silos, as you say. For instance, the development of this kind of master model that I mentioned before will give you the opportunity to interact with the mining people, with the people that work in crushing, grinding, flotation at the same time, all contributing to the same master model with their information, definitely. And today, by the way, I'm using that approach to have this agreement with different people in Teck, for instance, for our project here in Chile, Quebrada Blanca 2, for instance, Chile 2. We are trying to develop an integrated model, considering the blasting model, crushing and grinding model. So it's something that can contribute to do that.
You talked before about knowledge on a mine site or knowledge within an asset, and I think it is really hard, as you mentioned, to have people skilled across the whole value chain. So if the simulation tools can help people collaborate with the expertise in those specific areas, presumably that's going to be a good step forward.
Absolutely.
I'm pleased to hear that that's actually happening in practice with you at Teck. So we're nearing the end of our time, Miguel, and I wondered if you had any sort of last thoughts you wanted to share with the audience around the future of modelling and simulation in our industry. Where do you see this has potential to go to in the future?
Well, I think that first of all, I think let's try to keep this ball rolling, keeping the modeling initiatives alive. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I think that there are few people that can manage this kind of knowledge, but I think this is up to us, the people that works in the mining companies, to contribute to keep this initiative alive. I think that we need to embrace modeling for all the different purposes, in concentrated plants. So there is no reason to continue to working without the support, the help, the continued support coming from modeling, for instance. So we will need to ensure that our team can manage some of these multiple options in the future available to develop this kind of information in the future. So with that, I think that we will be more productive and we will dedicate more time to create and identify value, for sure. And for modelers and IS practitioners in the future, I think that share your knowledge, man, openly with the new generations. They are the future, and we can expedite their journey in this industry, facilitating their understanding of this sometimes complex area. And I think that we can do a lot of if we can contribute, again, sharing our knowledge openly with the new generation. They can be very motivated contributing to this area. So I think that is the only way to continue with this path. And again, I think I'm completely convinced that we can add more value through modeling and simulation.
It's interesting you mentioned the next generation coming forward. Do you think these modeling and simulation tools really give people the opportunity to do a lot more experimentation without impacting on the actual operations?
Well, it's part of the objective to work with model and simulation, and I think that we will need to keep that kind of things alive in the future as well. But now we have enough information, enough tools to demonstrate how to do the things. Probably if we want to do more experimentation in the real world, for instance, we will have enough tools to demonstrate the value behind of that.
Yes, and you can build confidence in a virtual world before you apply it to the real world.
Absolutely. It's the same with new designs, for instance. When you want to argument the expansion of the benefit of add new equipment in your plant through modeling and simulation. You can do that to justify something like that, or at least to start with the discussion with some information before to do that.
Well, Miguel, sadly we've run out of time, but that's been a really great discussion, and thank you so much for contributing today. I really think your insights are great in this area, and we look forward to seeing what you do with these tools in the future. So Thanks very much, Miguel.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
We've had an absolutely fantastic Ostmine conference. Over 1,200 delegates. We've had a world-class lineup of speakers and exhibitors who were part of this event. And I look forward to seeing you in 2021 in Perth.